There are predators that hunt with teeth, and then there are predators that hunt with sound.
The frequency of death, the ocean is a place of silence, but only for those who cannot hear the frequencies of death. The human ear, the deep blue, is a void, a place of peace. But if you could tune your senses to the acoustic reality of the ancient world, you would realize that the silence is a lie. The ocean is not quiet, it is screaming. 12 million years ago, the waters off the coast of present-day Peru were not the domain of the peaceful giants we know today. They were a killing floor. In the murky, nutrient-rich depths of the Miocene epoch, there swam a creature that defies our modern understanding of biology. A creature that forces us to rewrite the rules of what is possible in nature. Kent, we are familiar with the sperm whale, the deep-diving squid eater of our time. We know them as gentle drifters, diving into the abyss to battle the kraken in the dark. But evolution has a darker chapter, a chapter written in blood and bone. Before the gentle giants there was the Livyatan, a whale built not to filter plankton and not just to suction squid from the abyss, but to hunt other whales. Its scientific name is Livyatan melvillei, named after the biblical sea monster and Herman Melville, the author of Moby Dick. But unlike the white whale of fiction, this horror was flesh, blood, and bone, and it possessed the largest biting teeth of any animal to ever exist on this planet. Chumbi and Heschel 1. The graveyard in the desert. To understand the sheer scale of this predator, we must look to the driest place on Earth. Today, the Pisco Formation in Peru is a desolate landscape. It is a desert of yellow dust and windswept rock baking under the relentless sun. But 12 million years ago, this desert was the floor of a thriving tropical ocean. It was a shallow sea, teeming with life, protected from the cold currents of the south. In 2008, a team of paleontologists was walking through this graveyard of time. They were looking for sharks, or perhaps ancient dolphins. What they found instead was a shadow of a monster. Buried in the sediment eroding out of the cliffside was a skull. At first, the size was incomprehensible. The skull alone measured 3 meters in length. That is 10 feet of solid bone. As they brushed away the sand of millions of years, the true horror of the animal revealed itself. It was not the size of the cranium that shocked the researchers. It was the dentition. Modern sperm whales are evolutionary oddities. They have teeth only in their lower jaws, and these teeth are relatively small, used mostly for gripping slippery squid in the dark. Livyatan was different. It possessed massive, interlocking teeth in both its upper and lower jaws. These were not teeth for holding. These were teeth for destroying. Some of these teeth measured over 36 centimeters, more than 14 inches long. To put that in perspective, that is nearly double the size of the largest Tyrannosaurus rex tooth ever found. It is thicker than a human arm, and this animal ruled the oceans of the Miocene epoch, roughly 9 to 10 million years ago. It was a Goldilocks period for marine mammals. The water was warm, the currents were rich, and the ocean was filled with blubber. This abundance created the perfect conditions for the evolution of a super predator. Macroraptorial 2, the Macroraptorial Specialist. To understand Livyatan, you have to understand the concept of a Macroraptorial sperm whale. Today's sperm whale is a suction feeder. It opens its mouth, creates a vacuum, and sips the life out of the ocean. Hefty ocean. It is a specialist of the deep dark. Livyatan was a different beast entirely. It did not sip, it tore. It was a surface hunter patrolling the upper sunlit zones of the ocean. Its prey was not fish. Its prey was other cetaceans, small to medium-sized baleen whales known as cetotheres. These ancient whales were slow, measuring about 7 to 10 meters long. They were the cattle of the Miocene Sea, and Livyatan was the butcher. Imagine a predator the size of a modern sperm whale, 13 to 17 meters long, but armed with the bite force to crush the ribcage of another whale. Biomechanics experts have analyzed the skull structure, the temporal fossa. The hole in the skull where the jaw muscles attach was massive. This indicates a bite force that could rival the legendary Megalodon. But unlike a shark, which shakes its head to saw through flesh, the Livyatan had the neck strength to ram and crush. But the teeth were likely not its only weapon. Like modern sperm whales, Livyatan possessed a massive basin in its skull. This basin held the spermaceti organ, a reservoir of waxy oil that can weigh as much as a car. In modern whales, this organ helps with buoyancy and echolocation. But in Livyatan, the sheer size of the organ, supported by thick, reinforced cranial walls, has led some paleontologists to suggest a more violent purpose. It is possible that Livyatan used its head as a battering ram around 5 million years ago. At the boundary of the Miocene and Pliocene epochs, the Earth began to change. The collision of continents altered. The Isthmus of Panama began to close, cutting off the flow of water between the Atlantic and the Pacific. The result was a global cooling event. The polar ice caps began to expand. The warm, tropical seas that Livyatan called home began to shrink. This temperature drop triggered a catastrophic chain reaction. The small, slow baleen whales, the primary food source for Livyatan, could not survive in the changing ocean. They began to disappear, replaced by new species of whales. These new whales, the ancestors of modern blue whales and humpbacks, were different. They were bigger, they were faster, and crucially, they were adapted to migrate. They could travel thousands of miles into the freezing Antarctic seas to feed on krill. Livyatan was a victim of its own specialization. It was a warm water killer. It did not have the metabolic adaptation to follow the prey into the freezing cold. It was trapped. As the prey migrated south to the ice, Livyatan stayed behind in the warming tropics. But the tropics were becoming empty deserts. The food was gone. Meanwhile, the ancestors of the modern sperm whale survived by taking a different path. They abandoned the surface hunt. They evolved to dive deeper, holding their breath for 90 minutes at a time. Hunting squid in the cold, oxygen-deprived abyss, a niche that Livyatan could not or would not exploit. And so the monster starved, slowly, generation by generation. Their numbers dwindled. The great pods grew smaller. Echolocation clicks grew fewer. Until one day, the last Livyatan took its final breath, sank to the bottom of the Pisco seabed, and was covered by the sands of time. Conclusion. The echo of the abyss. Livyatan melvillei serves as a humbling reminder of nature's capacity for violence and scale. It teaches us that the ocean we see today, calm, regulated, and largely devoid of megapredators, is an anomaly. For most of history, the ocean was a battlefield of giants. And the discovery of Livyatan forces us to ask, what else is down there, buried in the sediment? We have explored less than 5% of our oceans. We have dug up only a fraction of the fossil record. When you look at a modern sperm whale sleeping vertically in the water column, you are looking at the survivor. You are looking at the pacifist cousin of a killer. But hidden in its genes, hidden in the structure of its massive head, is the blueprint of a warrior. Today, when we look at the ocean, we see a mostly peaceful surface. Sunlight glitters on the waves. But if we listen closely to the fossil record, If we tune our ears to the deep time of the Miocene, we can still hear the echoes. The click, the ram, and the bite of the true king of the deep. If you enjoyed this deep dive into prehistoric marine biology and want to explore more of the Nothing is Normal series, make sure to like and subscribe. We have only just scratched the surface of the anomalies that evolution has produced. And tell us in the comments, in a fight between a pod of Livyatan and a Megalodon, who do you think truly ruled the Miocene?